What's up, y'all? I am back, and I am so excited to be back here, back within conversation. It's been probably a couple months now. It has been crazy times, you know what I'm saying? What's up, Ray? Good to see you. Thank you for joining. And so, Bruce Glenn, great to see y'all. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming back. You seem a little fancy now. You know, it's Fashion Week in New York, and I'm not doing any live shows. I'm doing all virtual, but still like to get a little dressed up to pretend like I'm still going. I'm watching a lot of shows online. So it's been really cool, but I just want to thank y'all who've been rocking with me through this support. Thank you for being guests like Bruce Glenn. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your words of encouragement and just saying you really like the content. It's been super exciting. As some of you know, I started this conversation series kind of at the beginning of COVID, and we were home. We didn't really know what was going on, but I was just here and, you know, just seeing how many dope things people are doing who I know and who I'm connected with. And so I decided to just get people together and just start talking. And so, you know, hearing their story, hopefully to inspire other people. So today's guest is Kimberly Goldson. I'm super excited. Kim has joined. Good to see you. Let me go ahead and add her in. But she is just an awesome designer. A great person. So thank you guys. You see, I have same set. Got some new lights going. Hey, Kimberly, how are you?
I am so well. Oh my goodness, your space is adorable.
Oh, thank you. I have a new light since I did it last, so I'm like still testing it
Oh
out.
my goodness. I need to get my entire Instagram life together because first of all, my phone is almost dead, so I'm holding it because you know iPhones have the chargers up at the bottom.
Oh yes. Oh my
So
God.
that's why I'm like shaking all over the place. Then my lighting is not great. Like invest in the lighting, lady.
All right. Let me tell you, literally, I just ordered this on Amazon probably a few days ago.
Oh my
So
goodness. Please send it to
yes,
me.
I'll send you the link. I'm hoping it
It's
goes
great.
well. I
No,
was
it
reading
looks amazing.
like people loved it, but then you read the ones that people hated, and I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not one of those people that gets the bad one. So
Yeah,
far,
no, so far it looks great.
yes, but you look great. How are you doing today?
I am doing so well.
Yeah.
It's been a busy day, a busy week,
Yeah.
busy last few months.
Yes.
I'm so glad that we did this now because,
Yeah.
well, we could have done two, but we were supposed to do it at the beginning of the quarantine. And I was kind of like,
Right.
I hadn't found my mojo. I was feeling uncreative.
Yes. And I know when you don't feel creative, you're like,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. So this was perfect timing. Awesome.
Awesome. Yes,
This
you just revealed your collection during Fashion Week. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited and so proud of this collection.
Yes, I loved seeing it. If you guys didn't catch it, I think Harlem Fashion Row is doing an encore. I believe
On
they are
Saturday.
on Saturday, so you have to check it out. So I don't know. I just want to talk about so much, but generally, how's Fashion Week been for you? One, showing your collection, but two, most of it being virtual. Like, how is that going for you?
It's been amazing. I miss being at Fashion Week. You know
Yeah,
what it's like just being in the throes of all of the craziness. And while you're in it, when I'm getting prepared for Fashion Week, I'm like, it's just so much because people only think of the glamorous side of getting dressed and going to fashion shows. They
yes,
don't really see and feel and know the work that you have to put in on the back end. So I missed that piece of it. I mean, I still had the crazy work, but I miss actually running around to shows and seeing people, that you usually only see at
right.
that time of year. But virtually was cool to be a part of this new launch from the CFDA.
Right. Awesome. So yeah, can you talk about that a little bit? What was the launch and how did it go for you?
It was great. So the CFDA has a new platform that they did all of the New York Fashion Week shows on this year, CFDA Runway 360.
Okay.
So CFDA runway360.com.
Cool.
And so everybody that's on the official New York Fashion Week schedule is showing there, whether it's live. Some people are still doing live shows, but like either small crowds or no crowds. Most of it was already done and shot digitally.
Right.
And I had the great honor of being in the promo for the platform with Alice and Olivia, Stephen Kolb,
That's a thing.
Anna Sui, yes. So I was like, and they asked me to do it. I was like, yes. So excited to be a part of this launch. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's up? Thank you everyone for joining. If you have questions, drop them in the comments or the question box.
Yeah.
So that's dope. So was this this wasn't your first time showing at Fashion Week, was it?
No.
Okay.
This no, I'm thankful to say it's been a few times. We've shown a few times with Harlem's Fashion Row at New York Fashion Week.
Yep, of course.
We did a presentation one year and we were on the official schedule. And then of course when I was on Project Runway, I showed at Fashion Week.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about so that's how I knew you before I knew you. Because I love Project Runway. And I feel like in New York, I just keep running into Project Runway designers. But that's why when I saw you at church, shout out to EBC, Emmanuel Baptist Church in Brooklyn. I know, I miss church so much.
Oh.
I met Kimberly, but yeah, so let's talk about Project Runway.
Project Runway, I'm so thankful for because it is obviously what launched me into the world. It was crazy, hectic, and so challenging. It's so much harder than it looks on television because they cut it down into 60 minutes.
Oh yeah.
But we are filming from about 5 in the morning, midnight, 1 o'clock. Then
Oh my God.
Yes, because we have to, like, everything that you see that's cut and edited, we had to sit around and wait for the camera crews to set up again. To travel to go to Mood was just a whole ordeal in by itself, sitting in the van, sitting in the staircase in the back of Mood. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I'm grateful for it. I said I was never going to do it again, and then I went on All Stars.
I know you went on All Stars.
So I'm not doing it again.
Would you, when you first applied, well, did you get on the first time you applied? And what was that process?
No. So the very first time I applied, so what a lot of people don't know is that I went to FIT for fashion merchandising.
Okay.
But because I didn't know, how to sew, how to sketch, so I didn't think I could be a designer. And somewhere later on down the line, I was like, oh, I need a creative outlet. I was working in sales and product development and all the production and all of that kind of technical stuff. And I was like, I need to be creative. So I taught myself how to sew and design. So 3 minutes after I taught myself, I decided to try out for Project Runway.
Oh my God.
Season 6. This was when Tim Gunn was in the process. So the process was you would go to a city near you. Okay. And kind of like American Idol, wait online, wait for them to call your number, go in front of them, show them your stuff. So I did that. And it's such a funny story that I could tell that's associated with that. But I went in and Tim Gunn was there and he was like, okay, ma'am, like, yeah, he's very polite.
Yes.
He's like, no, ma'am, you need more experience other than just 3 months or however long it was at that point. Come back.
Right.
So, so then I went back for 3 years. I worked on it. Okay. And then applied. So now for season 9, the process was different. It was sending a videotape about yourself, with pictures of your work. Then they'll call you in for a prelim to come down to the city and then narrow it down from the city. So that was a process I went through from there.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to ask, Rhonda asked how were you selected? So that was the whole process from there.
Yes, but let me tell Rhonda, is it Rhonda?
Yes, Rhonda. That's my mom.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you the funniest story. Not a lot. I haven't told this story a lot. So when I went to try out for season 6 initially, right? So you think about like American Idol's audition, right? When everybody stand on the line, they camped out for 3 and 5 days.
Right.
Yes. So I went, it was in Miami. I was living in Atlanta at the time. So the closest city was Miami. Okay. I had no money. The church I belonged to in Atlanta, everybody was scraping money just to get me a buddy pass airplane to stand by to get there. Once I got to Miami, I had to take a bus to the hotel because I couldn't afford an Uber or a taxi maybe at that time. And then when I got to the hotel, I didn't have money to stay in the hotel. But my thought was that everybody's going to be camping out.
Right.
So I came ready for the camp out. There was nobody camping out. This is
What?
not American Idol. It's just Project Runway. Nobody's camping out, man. Nobody was camping out. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, and I could see people running around the hotel who were actually staying there that was there for the casting next day. Well,
What you
being
do?
resourceful, I
Yep.
went downstairs. I scoped out the hotel and I went downstairs where their conference room was, and they had, you know how when you want to divide a big conference room into two, they had the dividing doors, but they were pulled back. I found a little nook in there, and I slept in there until the morning, got up, went into the bathroom, pulled myself together, and was third on the line.
That's amazing. That is a amazing story. I'm so glad you told that.
Yep. So trust me, it's been a lot of hustle going into it. But my new phrase is the hustle is different when your name is on it. So,
ooh, that's a good one.
mm-hmm.
A good one. Wow, that's so true. So can we talk a little bit more now about your story? You shared that snippet. So can we talk a little more like how you got started? How were you inspired? Well, you talked a little about school, but yeah, I'd love to hear like your backstory some more.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, my mom was a seamstress, but I didn't learn from her, you know, how to sew, because sewing to me wasn't designing. So it was like, you know, she was using patterns, you know, the butterwick and, you know, and all the patterns. So I was like, oh, that's not sewing. I mean, that's not just being a designer. That's not fabulous. Even though she was fabulous, because she would make her clothes. She would say, oh, I need something to wear to church in the morning, Saturday night. She'll be making something to wear when I wake up in the morning for church. A whole outfit laid, hat to match. Yes. So she was a real goat. So that's where her and my older cousin Nelda, she was like the style fashionista of Brooklyn. I mean, we grew up in Clinton Hills, so it probably was just a neighborhood, but it felt like everybody knew her and knew how dope she was. So I was always into style, but I didn't know how to sew a sketch, so I didn't think I could be a designer. Plus, not seeing anyone that looked like us, you know. So, so I went to school for the business behind fashion, and then fast forward to me just when I moved to Atlanta, I was like, okay, I need fashion somehow, some way, somehow. So that's when I went to Walmart. I bought a sewing machine. Shout out to Brother. And I'm shouting them out because they sponsored me, as they sponsored some sewing machine for our class. You know, the class.
Oh, yes.
Was the one that sponsored the sewing machines. Yes. And so I went to Walmart, bought the sewing machine, bought a book, and that's how I taught myself how to design. And that's why I'm here.
Oh, that's awesome. So what made you move to Atlanta? Because you were in Brooklyn, went to FI and to Atlanta.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in New York and Brooklyn, to be exact. And I felt I needed a change. Brooklyn was changing so much at that time. The prices were getting too high to even live here. Fashion, it wasn't fulfilling me doing what I was doing. So I moved to Atlanta to get away from it all. Fashion, Brooklyn, the struggle, everything. And then that was when I was like, okay, I need a creative outlet. I was working like for a job that was so not me. But, you know, everything worked out for a reason, because who knows if I would have, you know, started designing if I didn't have the time and the space to do it when I was in Atlanta. And also I started making clothes for myself. Okay. So when I started making clothes for myself, and then my church that I was going to, Metro in Atlanta, people started asking me about what I was wearing. So then I started making clothes for other people. Nice. And then I started my first bootleg company, which I didn't know how to run because I was just making clothes and not making money, because I was only charging everybody like $50. Right. So, so then, you know, then everything else kind of worked itself out to Project Runway and being back in New York.
Awesome. What's up, Evan? Thank everyone for joining. But what was I going to say? So how did you even get more knowledgeable about the business part? Because I think as an entrepreneur, that's always the thing, especially a creative. Like, how do I price myself? The fabric only costs this much. I don't have time. How did that all go for you? How did you figure that out?
Well, thankfully, I have my sister. You know, the two of us run the business together. So there's Shelly Powell, who is the brainchild behind the business of the brand. So she has a master's from Columbia University. She is a mom. She is a wife. She's been an executive at Viacom,
Wow.
an SVP. So she pulled it. She pulls that side together. She holds that whole side down.
That's awesome. That's amazing, amazing. And so you did Project Runway. Is that what made you move back to New York?
Yes. So when I did Project Runway, I'm trying to see if this was staying like this. Hold on.
All right. What's up, Cliff? Evan said they love Project Runway.
Oh, that's my brother. That's
You
on Cliff.
were Project Runway.
Who
Yes.
was on Project Runway?
You were amazing. You were great.
Oh, he said I was great. I thought you said somebody else was here from Project Runway. Okay, that's not working. Okay, let's just keep it like this. Oh, where's my All right, I don't have time for that. I have a whole tripod.
That's all right.
What was the question?
I was saying so Project Runway brought you back to New York.
Yes. So when I shot Project Runway, I was on my way up from Atlanta.
Okay.
And I stopped at my girlfriend's house I was gonna stop there for a week. She lives in Maryland. My two best friends live in Maryland. And I was gonna stay there for a week, and then her job, they needed a temporary receptionist. So I went to do that. That wound up being for like maybe 6 months.
Okay.
So I was in Maryland, and then when I did the Project Runway audition, I was there. So I filmed it, when Tim Gum came to the house, it was there. And then after the show, when my sister was like, let's do KG, let's do the business. So I stayed.
So that's amazing. I didn't even realize that you really developed your brand after Project Runway.
Yes. I didn't really know who I was as a designer until I was going through Project Runway, because before I got to Project Runway, I thought I was all about these cute little dresses, cocktail and stuff. I still had the aesthetic of like, the glitz and like sequins and brocades, but really all I knew how to make were dresses, because again, I'm self-taught and that's the easiest thing to do. Mm-hmm. Pants were not easy. And so when I went to the audition, one of the things that I had on my rack to show them was one pair of pants. It was the second pair of pants I had ever made to that date. And they were like, oh my goodness, we love these pants. And so then when I got on the show, everyone was like, make the pants, Nina, make the pants. And so I made the pants, and all of a sudden I came out of Project Runway with Kimberly Goldson. If you start typing in my name on Google, I promise you pants come up after it. I'm not even exaggerating.
Up too.
Yeah. So my sister was like, make the pants. Everybody wants the pants. So we made the pants. We like, what do we need for the pants? We need a jacket for the pants. And so that's how the suit was born. And all of that came out of Project Runway.
Nice. Evan said he loves our backdrops. Thank you very much.
Yes. This room is so amazing. Is this your office?
No, it's my living room. So my couch is over there. This huge thing.
Oh, that's a TV. I thought that was your chair. This is amazing. This is great. I used to put, you just inspired me to get
you just gotta, I was like, well, I'm home. What we gonna do?
Yeah.
But I like yours. Yours is beautiful too.
Thank you. When I moved in, I did this, it's actually paint that I sent to look like, And so my couch is behind me, and I have some of my collection pillows.
Oh, collection pillows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Question: what was one of the most memorable moments on Project Runway?
I would have to say designing for Nina Garcia and winning the challenge.
Ooh,
because that was the best moment, because then I got to, after the show, they wanted to put a moment in there where she actually wore the garment to work. So after the show was over, we had to film her going to the office in the garment, and then me going to Marie Claire, going to the closet with her, doing all this fun girly stuff. Yeah, it was cool.
So amazing. Yeah, that's an amazing experience. That's a great answer for that. So you have a chance to work with Nina anymore beyond Project Runway? Not yet.
All I'm gonna say to that is no.
Okay. So you made it, right? You made it to Fashion Week. How was that? Like that? You made it that far. I'm sure it was so much pressure, but it had to be like a crazy dream, because, like you said, you were self-taught. You essentially recently, not long before you got on the show, realized this is what you want to do, and then you made it. Like,
yes. It was so scary, because that was like one of the moments where I was having imposter syndrome before I even knew that that was really even a thing.
Yep.
I just felt so much, I felt so inadequate, like I didn't belong. But then there were moments where I was like, oh, I could really win this. My stuff is, you know, it's kind of dope. Then the New York Times, the Daily News and the New York Post said that I should have won the competition based on my collection. So it was a little validating as well, but it was tough going in because I was stressed trying to make that collection. I was in my girlfriend's basement in Maryland, sewing my life away.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you said KG was born out of Project Runway, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So what's sort of like I guess, do you have a vision? Like, what is the goal of your brand, ideal woman or client, all that?
Well, our ideal woman is anyone who will dare to be fearless. That's really our tagline: women who dare to be bold and vivacious, fearless and distinctive. Because we know that our clothing is not for everyone, but we love from what we get from our customers on how it makes them feel, how it emboldens them, empowers them. So that's really for the woman that we're after. Someone who's willing to take a risk and a chance, because not only with your clothing, in life, like my dreams, I didn't even know I had these dreams, and then now that I have them, I'm have to dream bigger. You know, I've been very fortunate to accomplish a lot so far, but there's so many other things that we want to do. We really want to be in retail stores. Shout out to Saks Fifth Avenue and a market appointment. Um, and you know, so we want to hang with, you know, oh, I told you that I did the video with Alice and Olivia. That's our dream hanging partner.
Yes.
You go to Alice and Olivia, and then, you know, we're right next to her. So yeah, so in like 5 years we want to definitely be mainstays and regulars in retail location. We want to have a better touch with our consumers, our direct to consumers. I love like interacting with them on social. They email us directly. So I love that aspect of it. And yeah, just grow, scale.
Awesome. If people want to get in touch with you now, how can they? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
The very best way is right here on Instagram. I have gotten so much better, y'all. Thank Jesus for it. I have gotten so much better on Instagram, especially within this last week. But right here, Kimberly Goldson. I check my DMs every now and then. I'm quicker on the DMs. And KimberlyGoldson.com. Of course, if you want to see the clothing, if you want to shop the clothing, you can shop from Instagram as well. And that's where we are.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about your latest collection that we just presented on Sunday. How do you feel about it? How was that experience and all of that?
It's so amazing because this was the absolute best collection for this moment, because the fact that we highlighted Black women, we used a Black designer / illustrator to come up with the images of the women that you see on the garments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud that this collection got the stage that it did. Like, this was the best collection for this stage because it was innovative. I feel like, you know, no one had done that before. You know, we made the 3D hair on the garments.
I saw the first one come out. I was like, 3D hair. I was like, this is so cool. It's so.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. But then I was so nervous right before. I was like, no. My sister had to pull me off the edge. I was like, no. You know, because when it's your baby, it's like, you know, you bring your baby out into the world and you wonder how it's going to be received.
Right.
And, you know, it's just, as a creative, it is, whew, that's the moment right there that is tough. But I love that this collection had this moment.
Good. So I know you mentioned a little bit in your like your clip before during the show, you kind of gave like the inspiration behind it, but can you talk a little bit more about your inspiration, the name of the collection, and kind of how you got there? Because it's so innovative.
So my sister had a dream earlier in the year, and she said, oh, I had a dream about Fashion Week and all I saw was hair, Black women's hair and texture and afros. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I felt what she was saying, but I didn't see it. So, it was hard for me to get in. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's great. And months later, we were in a quarantine, and it just kept circling back in my mind. And then all of a sudden I was like, I got it. I said, that's the inspiration for 2020. And she was like, oh my goodness. And I love the fact that she was so excited because she never comes over to the creative side. So the fact that she had such a huge contribution
Right.
for our fall 2020 collection. I mean, this is all from her dream.
That's
So that to me was amazing. And so we named it Heritage. And while I was coming up with the concept of doing this 3D hair, we thought, let's make it a whole moment. Let's get, a Black woman to design, to come up with the images and the artwork. So I just so happened to be going through my DMs, and I saw a young designer who asked me to take a look at her page. Shout out to Taylor Ramsey.
yeah. See, she said DMs, y'all. Hit her up.
That's what I'm saying. So she sent a DM back in November. And so this was maybe like March or April when I finally got to it. But this was at the time when I had just came up with the concept.
Yeah.
So when I saw her artwork and then I had the concept in mind, I was like, oh my goodness, here it is. Oh. And she's fresh out of college. So I called, I was like, your work is dope. I may have a project for you. And, and the whole thing. So then, we had a conversation. I was like, okay, I need the 4 images. Can you do it by next week?
Yeah.
So, because, then everything started moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really the inspiration. She brought it to life. She used these are her babies that she dreamt up. All I told her was what I wanted, like in terms of their hair. I wanted the bob. I wanted the afro braids and the puffs, and she did it. And so then for me, it was just a matter of how was I going to do this 3D art? How was I going to do this hair? So for the braids, I used yarn. Okay. And I sewed it down and then braided it just like you would do when you're sitting at the salon getting your braids done.
Right.
My favorite sweatshirt, which she's really not she's my favorite, but she gave me a hard time, was Zuri. It's the one with the red bob, because that's actually I actually did an install on her hair, sewed it in, flat iron. I had to cover her tracks, flat iron it so I could cover her track, hairspray gel, tied it down.
Oh my God.
It was like, yes. So I made like at least 6 trips to the beauty supply store and trying to get all of this stuff right. And the pink jacket, the pink suit with the tassels on it.
Yes.
That is, those are tassels. Again, that was about the movement and feeling like hair. Yep. But I used the clips from the beauty supply store that you put on the ends of your braids.
Yeah.
That's what's attaching the fringe. So that entire collection came out of the beauty supply store.
That's so cute. When I saw that suit, they remind me of little ponytails, like little ponytails.
Yes, right, exactly. So the entire collection, I just wanted it to have texture and really, just bleed through that inspiration of the hair.
And now that you talk about it more, I think you're right that it was such a perfect time, like for that collection, definitely the platform to show it on, but like this moment that we're in where it's like, there's so much, discussion. People are more woke than they were, mm-hmm. But really sort of the celebration. And even when you think about like the Say Her Name movement, where it's like Black women not really being focused on, to have this collection where you celebrate it, I think the timing was perfect.
Exactly. And we didn't even know that this time was coming when, my sister had the dream, when, the concept really came to life. So it all timed out perfectly. And I couldn't be more proud of actually being a part of a conversation where Black women are celebrated. Yeah. That we can see not only, we celebrating her hair texture on the clothing, but as Black women owning the business and being the creators behind it, like you can see that we are dope. You don't have to appropriate our stuff, because as soon as I see one person take that idea and don't give me credit for it, exactly, it's gonna be a problem. Market. As soon as I see it in Zara, I'm going for somebody.
Yep. All right. Carol asked, do you have any of your 3D designs you can show? Do you have any pieces near you?
I do. I can grab them. It's going to be a little janky once I put this phone down. If y'all don't mind, I will.
That's all right. We have to see it. You gotta show it. You,
Okay. Let me see if I can get this to stay up while I go.
okay.
No, it won't let me be great. Let me do it like this for a moment.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, hold on.
That's cool. Well, thank you all for joining. Kimberly is about to show us some pieces from her latest collection. So we thank you. Thank you for watching. Feel free to drop questions in if you have in the question box or in the comments. Ooh, here we go. I'm excited. Yeah.
All right.
If you haven't seen this collection, your mind is about to be blown. I just want to say.
So this is Zuri.
Yes.
So she is the one with the bangs.
Yeah. So this is the one you did like a full install.
Yes. I will show you what's under the hood, but I can't.
That's okay. That's all right. Wow.
But yes. So
So
that is
the artist you worked with did the artwork, and then on top of it is where you place the hair.
yes. So if I move this, you can see her artwork the way the hair is.
Yeah.
So they come in both editions.
Okay.
So you can get it with the hair or without the hair.
Okay.
So if you get it without the hair, it's just as if the hair, it's just a print of it.
I mean, you can't get that without the hair, though. That hair is so dope.
But look at her artwork. That is amazing.
Yes. Beautiful.
That's Zuri.
Yes.
This is Naomi. So
yes.
she has the
love this. So fierce.
She has such an attitude. I love her. She has such. Let me see. There we go. Oh, her face is distorted. Yes, she has such an attitude.
Yes, that's so cute too.
But yeah, this is yarn that I just
put
onto her. Cinnamon yarn. And then I can't show you the one with the braids because it's at the sample maker right now.
Okay.
Thank you all for the orders that are rolling in. I love you and appreciate you for it. So that's on its way getting done. And then this is Serena. This is our Afro girl.
Oh yeah. Right.
And I love these. I put the little clips in. You can't really get it out of her face at the moment, but we put the clips in everything. It comes with the clips in her hair and everything.
So cute. Now I know you showed her yesterday for National Afro Day, so that was like perfect timing.
Yes. We weren't even going to drop her until at least today or at the end of the week, but once we knew it was National Afro Day, I was like, I have to do it today. So,
I agree. Also, I didn't know that was a thing until yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Somehow my sisters saw a hashtag of something, and then I saw like Miss Julie was celebrating the world. Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is for real.
I know. I saw Miss Julie posted. I was like, oh, it's like a day. Pretty dope.
Yeah.
Idea.
So I was like, oh, I have to get Serena in here. So yeah, that was that.
That was so dope. So dope. What do you think thus far has been one of your like proudest or most mind-blowing, like amazing moments just thus far?
Probably the most mind-blowing moment is having designed the shoe for LeBron James. That collaboration.
Please talk about that.
Oh my goodness.
No, she designed a shoe
for
LeBron James.
Yes. Yes, that was like I don't even know. Like sometimes it still doesn't even feel real. Like I sat in a room with LeBron James and I was talking to him like this. Like, listen here, LeBron.
Process. About the process, because when I saw the shoe drop, I'm like, that's dope. But how did that even like come together? What was that process?
Yeah, so Brandis, I'll give you the short version, but Brandis came to Brandis from Harlem Fashion Row. After we did her 10th anniversary show, she said, oh, there's a big sponsor who wants, us to submit names. Just trust me. Do you want me to submit your name? We didn't know what it was for. She was submitting multiple designers and we was like, yeah, sure. And then fast forward to her calling Undra Fee and myself to say that Nike, it was Nike, A, and LeBron, B, and they wanted us, C. So we were all three. Now, we had never worked together. The three of us had only met a month prior at the show because the three of us were showing.
Yeah.
So that was the first time we had ever met. Now we were thrown into this project of doing sneakers. Again, this is the second moment probably more so in my career where I felt like I had the imposter syndrome, because I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go to this place to design sneakers. I don't know how to design sneakers. I don't have any technical, language.
Yeah.
How am I going to, how are people going to understand what goes on in my brain?
Right.
So I was huh? What'd you say?
I said, and no pressure, LeBron James.
Yeah. So, right, and no pressure, right. So I didn't know what to expect. And then we got in there. So we had a few days, the three of us and Brandis, the four of us, to get together and kind of talk about direction and a mood board and inspiration. And then when we got into the room, Nike team was so great. And they just asked us, but they did say, okay, well, here's the creative space. They took us to another room and they said, here's this creative space, go for it. And the three of us were like, what are we supposed to do?
Had you designed sneakers before?
No, none. And so Andra, she jumped off the conversation with one idea, and then all of a sudden we just started rolling. And we had a totally different shoe than the one that we ended up with.
Mm-hmm.
But the process was so great. Like, we can't even still really think about the process on how we got to this end result of this shoe from where we started. It was like purple. It was all sorts of colors. And then we ended up at that monotoned, that tonal kind of what was that color called? It's like a light gray color.
Yes.
Bone.
And by the way, Scott said, I love them.
Who has it? Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. So that was the process. The best thing that came out of it for me was my friendships with Fee and Andra. That was the story. And when we sat down with LeBron, that's what we told him. He was like, yeah, the shoe is cool. Making a shoe, we can make a shoe. But, I really wanted this to be about something more. And I was like, well, listen here, LeBron. The story is that you got 3 Black women here who nobody said will be able to work together and da-da-da-da. And I just went, and he was like, okay, yeah, that's true. Yup, you got it. So that sold him. Everybody was like, yo, we can't believe you went in like that. I got so Brooklyn with LeBron. But I was like, what you're going to do is get this story. Okay, you're going to understand what we have been through to get here.
I mean, that is the story. I agree. Like that, you don't need to talk about nothing else. This is
that's the story. So that was great. So when HFR did their style award show, we got to present him with his award and talk about the collection and working with him. And then we revealed the sneaker at the end of the show. So, because mostly everybody that was there had no idea this was even dropping. So it was a process.
I think the day after the awards was the email went out, and I was like, what?
And we had worked on it for over a year, and just about a year.
Wow. That's amazing. How do you have a pair?
I have several. Mm-hmm.
Several. Are they still available now?
I don't think so. Well, the first pair sold out in 5 minutes. Shout out to that, breaking internet rules and stuff. That sold out in 5 minutes, so that was history making. The second pair was probably still available. It may have sold out, but you can only get them on like what do they call the second hand, like people that buy them, those kind of people. Yeah. Okay.
Would you do a sneaker design again?
Yeah, sure will.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I don't. Yeah, I definitely would.
Yeah.
I really love doing collaborations now. It's like, I love doing it. And then we have a huge collaboration coming out, but I'll tell you that when you ask.
Ooh. Now I want to ask you now. Okay. Can you
well, since you asked, so we are doing a collaboration with Janie and Jack. They are the children's wear brand. Under Gap Inc. And it was just announced at Fashion Week on Sunday. Yes. So we have a whole children's collection that's coming out with them. I'm so excited about it because it's like a mini version of KG. It's so fun. Oh my goodness. Wait till you see, you're going to be like, that's Kimberly Goldson.
I think I saw that promo with the kids in the suits. Oh my gosh. I was like, if I have kids, this is what they're wearing. It was so cute.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. Like, we haven't even really gotten into them. Like, we just getting through, everything that happened at Fashion Week on Sunday. The
Right.
moment I get into like really letting y'all know about this Janie and Jack collab, and the event is on October 10th. So
October.
it's gonna be a kids event where they have the launch and a whole bunch of fun activities. It'll be virtual, but it's gonna be fun. So
That's
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yes, that's cool. So I know you're going to give us more about that later, but just a little bit about like how was it? Because had you designed children's wear before? No.
No, these are all first. These are all first that I'm loving. Again, shout out to Harlem's Fashion Row because they brought the opportunity to the table. They
Mhm.
are so amazing. Brandis is so amazing at connecting people and brands.
Yeah,
And she has more offers than she can even handle right now.
that's
So I
amazing.
love that either she thinks about me or the brand sees me and they ask for me. So I can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah.
Working with the team, it was right before the pandemic, and we were supposed to fly out to San Francisco, and then it was like the next day, so we had to cancel because everything got shut down, and so we did everything virtually, and it was amazing. It was a new process. It was great. Cindy Husk at Janie and Jack is my new bestie. She's the VP of design.
Awesome. So you've had multiple like crazy, amazing opportunities where it was like your first time doing something. How did
Mm-hmm.
you, I guess, like hype yourself up or not let the insecurity or the inexperience like stop you? How did you just keep going and pushing through those times?
Well, as you know, I'm very faith based. God is first and foremost, and He is the reason why I can do, why I do,
Yep.
giving me everything that I have in order to do it.
Mhm.
I've also learned what my purpose is. This is my platform, but my purpose is, and also, as you know, is giving back to the youth, especially of New York City, the young kids, showing them that they can dream bigger, being an inspiration, letting them see something that they can aspire to, just being a mentor, beacon of hope in their lives right now, because at this age, at the age that they are now, is the age where I felt like I needed something and someone like that. So for
Mhm.
me, my purpose is to be that.
Wow.
So that's what really keeps me going, is my faith. Even on those days, Galatians 6:9 is like, you have to keep going no matter what. You will reap the harvest as long as you do not grow weary and give up. So that's what's like, okay, I gotta keep going, because there have been days. Shout out to Shelly Powell, for my sister, for holding me down in those days, and I'm like, oh, I'm over KG. KG is done. I'm retiring. I have retired so many times in these 8.5 years. I haven't retired a lot. I haven't retired in the last maybe year and a half,
Okay.
but prior to that, 2016. Oh, I was out the business in
Oh,
2016. Oh,
oh,
you wasn't gonna see me.
well, see, we're glad you're still here. So glad.
Yes.
Let's
Thank
see.
you.
There's only one. Bree said, I can attest to your purpose because you've been such a blessing to me in that way.
That's shout out to Brittany. So let me tell you a quick story about Brittany. So Brittany is our wardrobe stylist. She styled the entire show for us for fall 2020.
Ooh, dope.
With us. Yes, she pushed me, and let me tell you, she pushed me, because I'm always like, well, should we put the tights on with that? And I take risks, don't get me wrong, but I was like, look, sometimes you get stuck in your head about, well, the brand, and you don't want to give people too much. So I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, but she pushed me to give you exactly what you see on the runway, as dope as it was. She
Yep.
she pushed me to do that. But I met Brittany through another stylist that we work with. His name is H Diddy, but his handle is I am H Diddy, and Harrison Craig is his name. So he's a major stylist now.
Yeah.
When he started, he came to me and he asked to pull. So he was starting his career in styling. We were just starting the brand, so we kind of helped each other along the way. Now he's doing like major celebrities. I'm so excited for him. And he said to me, oh, please, if you ever need any styling help, check out my girl Brittany. And so we called it in like 2 years ago to help us on, I don't know, we've worked together several times now. And then we asked her to do the shoot. Now her styling tree comes down from Law Roach, from Luxury Law.
Wow.
Because H Diddy studied under him, she studied under H Diddy, and now she's a whole stylist in her whole right. So I'm so happy and proud of her. Oh, Brandon, we are just talking about you. Brandon Daniels joined.
Yeah, and hey, I saw Ezene join. What's up, Ezene? What's up, guys? Thank you for joining.
Hi. Brandis, we were just talking about all of the amazing connections that you make with brands and putting people and brands together, designers and brands. And I just want to say thank you so much for all of the amazing work we've done over the years. I can hear her Memphis accent. Hey, y'all.
Yes. I think
That's what she said.
because I'm inspired by Brandis too, just like seeing her grind, her work ethic. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Had the opportunity to work too with a lot of people, like as a team, like you said, collaborating for the LeBron shoe, collaborating on the new Janie and Jack. So how have you still managed to keep your own, I guess, vision and voice with that? Because, on Project Runway, there's always the the team challenge, and people are like, no, they hate it.
It's terrible. It's hard. It's the worst thing you could do to somebody on Project Runway is put them in that team challenge.
Yeah.
Woo, that is a struggle right there.
Way. Great
What'd you
show.
say?
As they said, great show.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's the thing about a collaboration, especially on this level, going into the LeBron shoe, it was, I already had in the back of my mind, like, okay, how are 3 individual voices going to, have their vision heard?
Right.
And the best thing that we did was that we found a common denominator between the 3 of us in terms of our style. So at that time, it was gold. I'm still stuck on gold because that's my last name, so it's always going to be in the collection, right? Fee had just shown the collection. Fee doesn't really fool with gold much more, but that was the common denominator for all 3 of us at that time. And so we focused on what we had in common, what we wanted to see in the collection, and then we worked from there. And then Brandis gave us a great key to say, okay, let's have a yes and mentality. So it's not shooting down people's idea like, now that it's like, okay, yes, and what about this? So if you keep a yes and mentality, no one's offended, all ideas are heard, and then you come up with something amazing. So that was probably the best lesson I learned in collaborating with anyone. Because even the way my sister and I, when we're, trying to figure things out, it's like, okay, yes, and. So now we have adopted that. So I want to say shout out, hi, Kiari. Yes. So Kia has lent us the dope shoes that you see in our collection and our show. Please check her out. Her stuff is so amazing. That signature heel she have is stupid.
Yes, everything came together so well. Like you said, I mean, obviously it was different on your end, but just like watching it, like every piece that came out. And I know you mentioned the tights, and I vividly remember those tights because I was like, whoa, like I don't know if I would have put that together, but all together it looks so good. So like shout out to the team because that collection was so amazing.
Yes. So I made so all of those are collection tights. So they're all made, specifically for the collection. And Brittany pushed me to like, okay, let's put these tights with the shoes, and so it did come together.
Awesome.
Yes, Kiari shoes are so amazing.
Yes. Okay, I can't wait to check her out after.
Yes, please check her out. She has they're amazing. You just have to check them out. She has this gold cone wrapped heel. Stupid.
That sounds amazing. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So what, I guess, actually one of the questions, we talked a little bit about it, but how generally has the pandemic affected you? And just, I know creative process, you were saying you're trying to figure out your next collection, but it's okay. As an entrepreneur, as a designer, how has the pandemic affected you?
It was very tough. I had ebbs and flows. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I was, so excited because I was just about to put the samples in for my spring summer 2020 collection. So when the pandemic hit, now I had all of this fabric, all of this stuff that needed to be, have the samples made. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I just got fatigued looking at the fabric. So I just sat and looked at it for like a month. I didn't know what I was going to do. That word pivot was going around so heavily. And all of a sudden it seemed like everybody had already figured out the pivot. And I was the last person on the pivot. I was like, how am I supposed to pivot? I had no idea how to pivot. So I was just looking at it for like a month. And then I finally was like, okay, you know how to sew. That's how you started. Make these samples, figure it out. You have time because we're in a quarantine. You don't have any excuse to figure out
Right.
how to make these samples. So I made this summer 2020 collection. That was amazing. That was there was some really proud moments in that too. Like there's a jacket that we have. It's color block, light blue and black in the back, and it has these bows going down the sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
That was received really well. That's probably one of my favorite pieces ever that came out of the pandemic. So it was just trying to figure out, okay, if this is going to be the new normal and people are really going to be working from home and if nobody's going outside, why would they want to wear Kimberly Goldson? How is it going to fit into their lives now? So we just thought about that and we softened up the suit. So it's like, more not pajama style, but they're easier, not as structured so that you can just throw it on over your t-shirt when you have to do a Zoom call. We know that people are phasing back into work. Some people are going into the office a couple of days a week. So when they go, they're going to still want to look nice. So we still offer, our signature pieces. But yeah, and then also being bright, staying true to like the patterns that we use, the prints that we use, the fabrications, because when you're on a Zoom call like this, being bright, like you have your background, so that gives you everything.
Yeah.
For me, if I have, like right now, for me, it's my nails that are giving me my color. So what if
Right.
one day you need for it to be your top, or so we still have that going. Somebody said I want a pandemic piece for sure. Oh, that's your friend Evan.
Yes. Evan also asked if there's any pieces from the latest collection on your IG.
Yes. Well, yes. So we have the two pieces from the hair collection that are on the IG already, but everything's already up on the website for you to see. We're just piecing it onto IG because it was a lot of movement between Sunday and today. So we were like, let's give people a breathe, let it breathe. Let's give it to them in moments. So we'll put it out every other day. But yeah, it's all up on the website.
Okay, cool. Dang, I was just about to say something from what you said. And I saw one thing you did. I don't know if it's like officially part of your collection, but when you had the face mask.
Oh, yes. And
then you did that. I was like,
that was yeah, that was the summer collection that I did in the pandemic. Yeah, so my sister and I decided that, we were going to do a full-on shoot because this was when people were starting to phase back in, but then, we were still up against restrictions. So we were like, okay, let's do the shoot ourselves. We usually shoot in the clothing, always, but we were like, okay, let's do the shoot. And so, since the theme of that collection was metamorphosis, which again was right on time because it was like prior to that it was about me changing, and then all of a sudden it became about what the world changing, the metamorphosis of the world. So that was right on time. So we had a lot of butterfly motifs. So we had those 3D butterflies, and I just placed them onto the face mask. I wanted it to be like you can still see, so the eyes are cut out, but it's just all over the face mask. So it's just like on one side of the face mask. I still have it. I haven't worn it out in the street for real, just for the shoot.
I saw it. I was like, see, that's why I need a face shield. Like, that's why I need one. Just so I can wear, like, I'm not going to wear a regular face shield. What? No.
Yeah. And what's so interesting is that I am the worst as it comes right now to face mask. All I have are the basic first thing I only had was the basic blue face mask, the N95 or whatever those were. And then now they come in black, but it's the same basic one. So that's all I wear. And I'm like, okay, I need to go. I have so many friends who are making face masks. Yeah. I need to go to this site and just order a bunch because I have no face mask game going on right now. It's so whack.
Yeah, this is Yim said hair pieces fire. Your hair pieces.
Oh, thank you.
Funny you talk about face masks. So my mom, so you said your mom was a professional seamstress. So my grandmother was also, and passed it on to my mom. So when this happened, my mom just started going into her like collection of creative things and just finding scraps of fabric and making face masks. Just like, so I have at least a dozen. Like she kept mailing them. When I went home over the summer, she was like, I sent you all those. I was like, yes, you just keep making these. I take like the color coordinated. I can change them up, but
Right. Hi, bye, Chris Keys. But one of the things that so what we're doing this collection, we're going to zero waste anyway. So we're making with the leftover fabrics, we're giving gift for purchase. So if when you buy a suit, you get the face mask that matches it, so to be in the print and things like that. So that's a gift for purchase.
that's cute. Awesome. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
are slowly dwindling down. We have about 5 minutes left. So
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked a little bit about what's next, but also in addition to that, what are some things like even long-term goals that you're like putting out? Just put it out there. We're gonna claim it's gonna happen. What you got?
Well, someone, Claudine from Caravan today gave me a great idea that with the collection right now, that we should look into doing a sponsorship with a hair brand. And I was like, that's such a great idea. Like,
That's,
Tresemme or just somebody,
yeah,
right? For the hair pieces. So that's now on our agenda
that's a great
to
idea.
look into.
Because black hair products in general are
Yeah.
now more people have them. So
Shea
you
Moisture.
black owned brands, mom and pop
Mm-hmm.
brands also have the bigger brands that are focusing on
Mm-hmm.
the market. So that's an amazing idea.
Yes, yes. Shout out to Shea Moisture. Call me.
Yes, yes.
Um, that was just one idea we are thinking about. But right now, our main goal is to get into retail, scale the business, and we want to be a complete lifestyle brand. So we liken ourselves to Diane von Furstenberg.
Mm,
What she is for the wrap dress, we are to the suit. And also all of the other categories that she's in. So my sister and I joke all the time. It's like we want to be in every category. Like we walk in through TJ Maxx and be like, "Oh, we do underwear too." Like you can see your name product labeled on underwear and fitness gear and all that kind of stuff. So,
right.
mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
dope. Okay. Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone watching, like people who want to be designers, people are struggling, trying to decide if it's pivot time?
Mm-hmm.
We just share and kind of keep people going and motivate them.
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice that I always give is to never give up. And I say that when you realize that this is your God's driven purpose, like you have to be sure that this is what, like, because everybody, it's not for everybody. Like some people will think that this is what they're supposed to do, but it's not. But
Yeah.
if you know in your heart and your soul that this is what you're supposed to do, you can't give up, because the time it gets so hard and you're alone, the creativity, you just get so stuck in yourself and it's so hard trying to make money and be creative at the same time. Is probably the hardest thing you can do, because, well, not the hardest thing you can do, but trying to, because sometimes your creativity gets sapped from you, because it's like you're creative, but is that going to make money? So
Yep.
then you get watered down. So you have to stick with it. You have to figure it out. Pivot is as much as I kind of despise that word right now, the pivot is important,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to respond to the times. So if right now everybody is staying working, the majority of people are working from home, figure out how you can do your brand, how you can make your brand work for this new lifestyle that we are living in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be stubborn and say, well, this is what I'm making, this is what I'm doing. Okay, you can do that, but is anybody going to buy it is still the question.
Yep.
So yeah, those are my biggest pieces of advice. I would have to say, don't give up and figure out what it is in your brand that you can, how you can stay true to your brand, but making it easy for
Mm-hmm.
people in this moment with their changing lifestyles, like how to fit in with people in their changing lifestyles right now.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Thank you so much. Because that, even for me, just hearing that again, that makes so much sense. But I thank you, Kimberly, so much for your
Thank
time.
you, thank
Thank
you.
you everyone who joined.
Yes,
Yes.
Andrew just jumped in. We just
Yes.
finished giving our story. I'm telling Andrew, we just finished giving the whole how we met story. Yes,
Yep.
and I will always say that. Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Fashion Week. Congrats on the new collection. Everyone, please check out the new collection. KimberlyGoldson.com, right?
Yes.
Yes, and on IG.
Yes.
And Yeah, I guess have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Oh, some of my customers are on too. S. Scott Brooking. Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Oh,
guys.
yes. I didn't get to say hi to everybody, but hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, supporting, always. I love you so much.
We appreciate you. All right, I'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
later.
Okay. All right. Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.